Negative thinking is a trap that we often fall into, and it's a trap that keeps us stuck, paralyzed, and fearful. The enemy of progress doesn't always show up in grand battles or dramatic moments. Often it shows up quietly in the form of a thought, a small voice telling you that you can't, you won't, or you're not good enough. But let me tell you, the moment you start believing that voice is the moment you give away your power. It's the moment you let your mind become the prison that your soul can't escape. You've been given everything you need to break free, but it all begins with the way you think. If you want to change your life, it all starts with changing your mind. See, every time you entertain a negative thought, you allow that thought to dictate your actions, your feelings, your future. Negative thinking becomes like a weed that keeps growing, spreading roots deep into your psyche. It makes you second guess your abilities, your worth, and your potential. It whispers that you're not enough, that you'll never amount to anything. It tries to convince you that you're stuck in the same place forever. But let me tell you, your future is not tied to your past. You don't have to keep recycling old narratives that keep you small, that keep you from the greatness you're destined for. You were meant for more than that. What you've got to realize is that you have the authority to silence those negative thoughts. You have the power to take control of your mind and change the story you're telling yourself. Too often we let the world dictate how we see ourselves. We measure our value based on the opinions of others, based on the failures we've experienced, or based on the obstacles we face. But your true worth is not defined by your past, your circumstances, or what anyone else thinks. Your worth is intrinsic. You were created for greatness, and that greatness is waiting for you to step into it. Think about it. Every great accomplishment, every breakthrough, every success story began with someone deciding, I'm not going to let my thoughts control me. They decided that no matter how many times they fell down, no matter how many negative thoughts they had, they were going to get up again. You have to make that same decision. You have to decide that the negative thoughts that have been holding you back will no longer have a say in how you live your life. You have to make the choice to shift your focus, to stop listening to the lies that tell you that you can and start listening to the truth that says you can. Let me tell you something. There's power in your words. There's power in the things you speak over yourself. Too often we speak negativity over our lives and wonder why our reality is so bleak. We wake up in the morning already defeated because we're saying things like, I'm not good enough. I'll never make it. I'm always going to fail. But the more you speak these words, the more you solidify the very thing you fear. You've got to start speaking life into your situation. You've got to start declaring that you are worthy, that you are capable, that you are destined for success. Speak to your dreams, speak to your future, speak to your fears, and tell them that they have no hold on you. If you want to change your life, change the way you talk about your life. But this isn't just about positive thinking. It's about believing in the possibility of something greater. It's about trusting that the setbacks you faced aren't the end of your story. They're simply the lessons that prepare you for what's ahead. Your negative thinking is simply a reflection of fear. Fear of the unknown, fear of failure, fear of rejection. But fear is not real. Fear is just an illusion, a shadow. It may feel real in the moment, but it has no power over you unless you let it. You have to confront fear head on. Don't avoid it. Don't run from it. Look it in the face and say, I see you. You may have tried to hold me back, but I'm not afraid of you anymore. Fear may try to paralyze you, but when you confront it, when you look beyond the fear and focus on the possibilities, you'll find that fear loses its grip. You were not created to live in fear, to be consumed by doubts and worries. You were created to rise above them. Now let's talk about how to break free from the chains of negative thinking. First, you need to become aware of the thoughts that are sabotaging you. You need to pay attention to the things that you think and say to yourself. Are you constantly thinking that you can't succeed? Are you replaying past mistakes in your head over and over again? Are you telling yourself that you're not enough? That's where it starts. If you don't identify the negative thoughts, they will continue to control you. Once you identify those thoughts, challenge them. Ask yourself, is this thought really true? Does it align with my purpose? Is this thought helping me move forward? When you start questioning your negative thoughts, you begin to take away their power. You start realizing that most of the things you fear are just illusions that don't have any real basis in reality. Next, replace the negative thoughts with positive, empowering thoughts. Instead of thinking, I'll never make it, start thinking, I am more than capable of achieving my dreams. Instead of saying, I'll always fail, say every failure is a lesson that brings me closer to success. You have to retrain your mind to see opportunities, not obstacles. You have to train yourself to believe that every setback is just a setup for a comeback. Another key to overcoming negative thinking is gratitude. Gratitude shifts your focus from what you don't have to what you do have. When you focus on the blessings in your life, you shift your mindset from scarcity to abundance. Negative thinking thrives in an environment of lack. When you feel like there's not enough, whether it's love, money, success, or opportunity, that's when negativity takes root. But when you cultivate a heart of gratitude, you start to see that there's more than enough for you. You start to see that there's a world of possibilities waiting for you. And finally, you've got to surround yourself with people who uplift you. If you're constantly surrounded by negativity, it will be hard to break free from it. The people you spend time with play a significant role in shaping your thoughts and your mindset. If you want to overcome negative thinking, you need to build a support system of people who encourage you, who believe in you, who challenge you to rise above your limitations. The right people can help you see your potential when you can't see it for yourself. Negative thinking is a battle, and like any battle, it requires strategy, discipline, and persistence. But the good news is that you already have everything you need to win. The strength to break free is inside of you. The power to change your life is inside of you. Your thoughts may try to control you, but you have the ability to take control of them. You are not defined by the negative thoughts that come into your mind. You are defined by your ability to rise above them. It's time to kill the negative thinking that has been holding you back. It's time to take authority over your mind, to speak life into your future, and to walk boldly into the destiny that is waiting for you. You've got what it takes. Don't let anyone, especially yourself, convince you otherwise. You were created for greatness. Now go out and claim it. Your thoughts shape your reality. Negative thinking limits your potential, but by becoming aware of and challenging those thoughts, you can take control of your mind and redirect it toward positive, empowering beliefs. Focus on what's possible, not what's impossible. Speak life over your circumstances. The things you say to yourself and others hold weight. When you declare your worth, your potential, and your capabilities, you create a mindset that empowers you to take action and overcome obstacles. Speak encouragement, not defeat. Gratitude shifts your focus from what you lack to what you have, fostering a mindset of abundance. Surround yourself with people who uplift you, challenge you, and help you see the potential in yourself when negativity clouds your vision. Your thoughts are the foundation upon which your life is built. Everything you do, everything you say, and everything you experience begins with a thought. In fact, the way you perceive the world, the way you see yourself, and the actions you take are all deeply influenced by the thoughts that occupy your mind. The challenge, however, is that not all of those thoughts are constructive. In fact, many of us struggle with negative thinking patterns that hold us back, that limit our potential, and that keep us stuck in the same place, unable to move forward. These thoughts can convince us that we are not good enough, that we don't deserve success, or that we are destined to fail. But what if I told you that those thoughts aren't the truth? What if I told you that you have the power to change them, to transform your mindset, and to reclaim the power that negative thinking has stolen from you? The first step in mastering your thoughts is understanding just how powerful your mind really is. Your mind is the most powerful tool you have. It's more powerful than your circumstances, more powerful than the people around you, more powerful than anything you could ever face. Your thoughts have the power to create or destroy. They can lead you to greatness, or they can keep you locked in a prison of fear and doubt. But here's the truth. Those thoughts don't have to control you. You don't have to be at the mercy of every passing idea or feeling. You have the ability to control what you think about and how you respond to the thoughts that come into your mind. The first thing you need to do is become aware of the thoughts that are running in the background of your mind. So many times we go through life on autopilot, thinking without really thinking, letting our minds dictate our actions without realizing it. But the more you become aware of the thoughts you're having, the more you can start to take control of them. Pay attention to your inner dialogue. What are you telling yourself? What thoughts are you letting in? Are they supportive, positive, and empowering? Or are they negative, self-limiting, and fearful? Awareness is the first step in the process of mastering your thoughts. Next, it's important to recognize that not every thought you have is true. Your thoughts are not facts. They are simply mental impressions, reflections, or interpretations of the world around you. Just because you think something doesn't mean it's a reflection of reality. Many of us are taught to believe that our thoughts are absolute, that they are truthful and unquestionable. But the truth is, thoughts are just thoughts. They come and go. They don't have to define you, and they don't have to control you. When you can separate yourself from your thoughts and view them objectively, you begin to see them for what they are, just passing mental images and patterns, not concrete realities. For example, when you have the thought, I'm not good enough, or I'm going to fail, ask yourself, is that really true? What evidence do I have to support that belief? When you dig deeper, you may realize that these thoughts are based on fear or insecurity, not on objective truth. Maybe you've had a past failure, or maybe you've been told you're not capable. But the fact that you've had setbacks doesn't mean that you are incapable or that you're destined to fail. In fact, every successful person has experienced failure. They've just learned to see failure differently. They view failure not as an identity, but as a stepping stone on the path to success. If you allow your negative thoughts to define your future, you'll miss out on the opportunity to learn and grow from every experience. To master your thoughts, you must learn to challenge the negative ones and replace them with positive, empowering beliefs. This doesn't mean ignoring reality or pretending everything is perfect. It means consciously choosing to focus on the positive aspects of any situation, no matter how difficult it may be. It means intentionally choosing to believe that you are capable of overcoming challenges, that you are worthy of success, and that you have everything you need to make progress. This shift in thinking is a choice. And while it's not always easy, it's always possible. One powerful way to start changing your thoughts is through affirmations. Affirmations are positive statements that you repeat to yourself to reprogram your mind. By speaking these affirmations consistently, you begin to shift your mindset from one of doubt to one of confidence. For example, instead of thinking, I can't do this, replace that thought with, I am capable of overcoming any challenge. Instead of saying, I'm not good enough, start saying, I am worthy of success and I have everything I need to achieve it. As you consistently repeat these affirmations, they begin to take root in your mind, changing the way you see yourself and the way you approach life. Another key to mastering your thoughts is to surround yourself with positivity. Your environment plays a significant role in shaping the way you think. If you are constantly exposed to negativity, whether it's from people, media, or your surroundings, it will be much harder to maintain a positive mindset. On the other hand, if you surround yourself with uplifting influences, people who believe in you, books that inspire you, and experiences that fuel your growth, you will naturally begin to think more positively. You'll start to see opportunities where others see obstacles. You'll begin to believe that success is possible and that you are more than capable of achieving it. At the same time, you need to be intentional about limiting the negative influences in your life. This might mean distancing yourself from people who bring you down or avoiding certain media that promotes fear, doubt, or negativity. Protect your mind like you would your physical health. What you expose yourself to mentally and emotionally affects your overall well-being. Fill your mind with things that encourage growth, that empower you, and that inspire you to become the best version of yourself. Mastering your thoughts also means taking control of your emotions. Negative thoughts often come hand in hand with negative emotions: fear, sadness, anger, frustration. And these emotions can sometimes feel overwhelming. However, emotions are just responses to thoughts. If you want to change the way you feel, you must first change the way you think. Instead of letting your emotions dictate your behavior, take a step back and choose how you want to respond. Practice emotional awareness and mindfulness. Take a deep breath, step outside of the emotional storm, and consciously choose to let go of the negative emotions that are holding you hostage. In addition, learning to be patient with yourself is a crucial part of mastering your thoughts. Change doesn't happen overnight. It takes time to rewire your brain and create new positive thought patterns. You will have moments where old negative thoughts creep back in. That's normal. It's not about eliminating negative thoughts completely, but about learning how to respond to them. When those negative thoughts show up, don't beat yourself up. Instead, acknowledge them and then replace them with a thought that serves you better. Over time, the more you practice this process, the more natural it will become. Ultimately, mastering your thoughts is about taking ownership of your mental and emotional state. It's about choosing to be the captain of your mind rather than a passenger in your own life. When you take control of your thoughts, you take control of your life. The power to change, to grow, and to succeed is within you. You just have to believe that you have the ability to reshape your mindset, to break free from the patterns of negative thinking, and to create a new reality for yourself. The battle against negative thinking is not one you fight alone. Every day you have the opportunity to choose a new thought, to choose a new belief, and to choose a new path. The power is in your hands. You just have to take it. Words are powerful. In fact, they might be one of the most powerful forces in our lives. They shape our reality, influence our emotions, and dictate the way we view ourselves and the world around us. We often hear the saying, "Sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me." But the truth is, words have the power to heal, to inspire, to build, and yes, to destroy. The language we use to communicate with others, and most importantly, the language we use with ourselves, holds immense influence over our thoughts, actions, and ultimately our lives. Consider for a moment the words that have been spoken to you throughout your life. How many times have you heard words that lifted you up, motivated you, and inspired you to keep going? And on the flip side, how many times have you heard words that brought you down, made you doubt your abilities, or made you question your worth? We all know the impact that others' words can have on us. But what about the words we speak to ourselves? What about the inner dialogue that runs in our minds on a daily basis? Do we treat ourselves with the same kindness, encouragement, and positivity that we would offer to others? The reality is that our words create the world we live in. They don't just communicate ideas or thoughts. They shape our perceptions, our beliefs, and our behaviors. What you speak, you give life to. If you constantly speak negativity, doubt, and fear, you are feeding those very things. But if you speak positivity, hope, and faith, you are feeding the possibility of a brighter future. Words are like seeds. They plant ideas in our minds, and as we continue to nurture them with our attention and focus, those seeds grow and bear fruit. The power of words is not just about what we say to others, but what we say to ourselves. We have a tendency to be our own worst critics, to speak to ourselves in ways that we would never speak to anyone else. How often do we call ourselves stupid lazy, or unworthy? How often do we belittle ourselves for not measuring up to some ideal, some standard of perfection? The words we speak to ourselves have a profound impact on our self-esteem and self-worth. If you constantly tell yourself that you can't do something, that you're not good enough, or that you'll never succeed, those thoughts will become ingrained in your subconscious mind, shaping your beliefs and ultimately affecting your actions. Your thoughts and words become a self-fulfilling prophecy. This is why it's so important to be intentional with the words we use. If we want to change our lives, we must first change the way we speak. The good news is that you have the power to rewrite your story. You have the power to shift your mindset by changing your internal dialogue. Instead of telling yourself, I can't, try saying, I am capable. Instead of thinking, I'm not good enough, shift to, I am worthy of success and happiness. Instead of saying, this will never work, replace it with, I can find a way to make this work. These may sound simple, but the impact they can have on your mindset and your life is profound. The words you speak to yourself become the foundation of your beliefs. They dictate what you think is possible and what you think is impossible. The language we use also affects our emotions. How many times have you found yourself feeling down or discouraged after speaking negatively about yourself or a situation? Conversely, how many times have you felt energized, confident, and motivated after speaking words of encouragement, hope, and positivity? The words we choose have the ability to elevate our emotional state or drag us down into a place of fear, doubt, and despair. When we speak positively, we create a mental and emotional environment that fosters growth, confidence, and resilience. We begin to believe in ourselves, and in turn, our actions align with that belief. When we speak negatively, we reinforce feelings of inadequacy and hopelessness, which keeps us stuck in a cycle of self-doubt and stagnation. This principle extends to our interactions with others as well. Think about the way words affect your relationships. Have you ever experienced the power of a kind word, a compliment, or a word of encouragement from someone? It can change your entire day, your mood, and your perspective. Words have the ability to bring people closer together, to foster trust and understanding, and to uplift one another. On the other hand, harsh words, criticism, or insults can cause hurt, division, and pain. The impact of words on others is undeniable. This is why it's so important to be mindful of how we speak to those around us. Just as our own words have the power to shape our lives, our words can also shape the lives of others. One of the most powerful ways to harness the power of words is through affirmation. Affirmations are positive statements that we repeat to ourselves in order to challenge negative beliefs and replace them with empowering ones. They are a tool for reprogramming our minds and reshaping our self-image. By consistently speaking words of affirmation, we begin to retrain our subconscious mind to believe in our worth, our abilities, and our potential. For example, instead of thinking or saying, I'm not good enough, try saying, I am capable, worthy, and enough just as I am. Instead of saying, I always fail, try, every challenge is an opportunity for me to grow and learn. Affirmations don't just change the way we think, they change the way we feel and ultimately the way we act. Another way to use the power of words is through gratitude. Gratitude is a form of language that shifts our focus from what we lack to what we have. When we speak words of gratitude, we are training our minds to look for the good, to appreciate what we have, and to acknowledge the blessings in our lives. Gratitude has the power to transform our perspective and open us up to new opportunities. It reminds us that even in the midst of challenges, there is always something to be thankful for. When you speak gratitude, you begin to see the world through a lens of abundance rather than scarcity, and this shift in mindset can lead to greater happiness, peace, and success. However, we must also be cautious of the words we speak in moments of frustration or anger. When we are upset, it's easy to let our words fly without thinking. We may say things that we don't mean or words that hurt others or ourselves. Once words are spoken, they cannot be taken back and the damage can be lasting. This is why it's so important to pause and choose our words carefully, especially in difficult moments. When we speak out of anger or frustration, we may say things that we regret later, and those words can cause harm to our relationships, our reputation, and our peace of mind. The power of words goes both ways. They can either build up or tear down, depending on how we choose to use them. In order to master the power of words, we must become aware of the impact they have on our thoughts, emotions, and relationships. We need to take responsibility for the language we use and be intentional with our words. Whether we are speaking to ourselves or others, we have the ability to create a positive, empowering environment through the words we choose. When we use our words to uplift, encourage, and inspire, we are not only changing our own lives, but also the lives of those around us. It all starts with the words we speak. Gratitude is one of the most powerful and transformative emotions you can experience. It's not just about being thankful when things are going well. It's about cultivating a mindset that sees the good in everything, even when circumstances seem difficult or overwhelming. Gratitude shifts your focus from what's lacking in your life to what's abundant. It changes your lens so that instead of seeing a world full of problems and challenges, you begin to see a world full of opportunities, blessings, and lessons. Gratitude in its purest form is a choice. It's a conscious decision to find something to appreciate even on the hard days. When we talk about embracing gratitude, we're talking about adopting a practice that can fundamentally change your outlook on life. It's not just about saying thank you when someone does something nice for you, though that's certainly part of it. Gratitude is a way of being, a way of seeing the world. It's a habit that, when nurtured, can transform your perspective, improve your mental and emotional health, and enhance your overall well-being. When you start to embrace gratitude, you begin to recognize the good things that are already present in your life, instead of always focusing on what you don't have or what's going wrong. It's a shift in focus away from scarcity, away from lack, and toward abundance. This practice of embracing gratitude is especially powerful when things aren't going as planned. It's easy to feel thankful when everything is going well, when the sun is shining, and when things seem to be falling into place. But it's when life presents its challenges, when things get tough, that gratitude can truly transform your experience. In those moments, gratitude doesn't just serve as a reminder of the good. It serves as a tool to reframe your situation, to shift your mind away from despair and toward possibility. For example, if you're going through a difficult time at work, instead of focusing on the frustrations, the setbacks, or the challenges, try focusing on what you can be thankful for in that situation. Maybe it's the opportunity to learn, to grow, or to build resilience. Maybe it's the fact that you have a job when so many others are struggling. Maybe it's the people around you who offer support, or the small victories that you may not have noticed before. When you consciously choose to focus on gratitude, you start to see things differently. You begin to realize that even in the midst of hardship, there's always something to be thankful for. Gratitude also has the power to shift your emotional state. When you focus on the good, on what's going right, your emotions naturally begin to align with that positive energy. You feel lighter, more peaceful, and more content. Gratitude has a way of quieting negative emotions like frustration, anger, or fear. It's like a calming force, a reminder that no matter how chaotic things may seem, there's always something to hold on to, something to appreciate. By actively practicing gratitude, you rewire your brain to see the world through a more positive, balanced lens. But embracing gratitude doesn't just change how you see the world. It can also improve your relationships with others. Think about the people in your life who you're most thankful for. When you express your appreciation for them, whether through kind words, actions, or gestures, it deepens your connection with them. Gratitude has the power to strengthen bonds, enhance communication, and foster trust. When you show others that you appreciate them, they feel seen, valued, and loved. And when others express gratitude toward you, it makes you feel good too. It creates a cycle of positivity where kindness, compassion, and appreciation flow freely between people. One of the most important aspects of gratitude is that it helps you move out of a mindset of lack and into a mindset of abundance. A lot of us go through life focusing on what we don't have. We wish for more. We chase after things that we think will bring us happiness, and we can easily fall into the trap of comparison. But the truth is, when you focus on what you don't have, you miss the beauty of what's already in your life. Gratitude shifts this focus. When you start actively looking for things to be grateful for, you begin to see how much you already have. You begin to recognize the abundance around you, your health, your family, your talents, your opportunities, and you realize that you're not as lacking as you might have once thought. This is where the second part of embracing gratitude comes in, surrounding yourself with positivity. It's one thing to be grateful, but it's another to nurture an environment that fosters gratitude, growth, and positivity. Our environment plays a significant role in shaping our mindset and our ability to stay positive. If you're constantly surrounded by negativity, whether from people, social media, news, or other external sources, it can be difficult to maintain a positive outlook. Negativity is contagious. When you're exposed to constant complaints, criticism, and negativity, it's easy to absorb that energy and begin to mirror it in your own thoughts and actions. This is why it's so important to create an environment that nurtures and supports your positivity and growth. Start by paying attention to the people you spend the most time with. Are they supportive, encouraging, and uplifting? Or do they drain your energy with negativity, pessimism, and complaints? Surround yourself with people who inspire you, who challenge you to be better, and who bring out the best in you. When you're around positive, motivated people, you naturally begin to adopt their mindset. You become more focused on your goals, more optimistic about your future, and more empowered to take action. Positive relationships are one of the most powerful forces for growth and success, so make sure the people you spend time with are helping you move toward the life you want to create. In addition to surrounding yourself with the right people, it's also essential to curate what you consume on a daily basis. What are you watching? What are you reading? What kind of information are you taking in? If you're constantly exposed to negativity, whether it's through the news, social media, or other sources, you can start to feel overwhelmed, anxious, or fearful. While it's important to stay informed, it's equally important to protect your mental and emotional space. Limit your exposure to negative influences and seek out content that uplifts, inspires, and motivates you. Read books that challenge your thinking, watch shows that make you laugh, and listen to podcasts that encourage growth and personal development. Finally, creating an environment of positivity is about choosing the thoughts and beliefs that you hold on to. You are the gatekeeper of your mind. Every day you're faced with choices about what you allow to occupy your mental space. Will you focus on the challenges, the obstacles, and the things that are going wrong? Or will you choose to focus on the opportunities, the lessons, and the progress you've made? The choice is yours. By surrounding yourself with positivity, both in the people you interact with and the content you consume, you create a mental environment that supports your growth and encourages a mindset of abundance and possibility. When you embrace gratitude and surround yourself with positivity, you set yourself up for a life of growth, fulfillment, and peace. You begin to see the world through a lens of abundance rather than scarcity. You begin to appreciate the small things, the everyday blessings, and the lessons that life has to offer. And most importantly, you begin to realize that no matter what you face, you have everything you need within you to create the life you want. By embracing gratitude and surrounding yourself with positivity, you empower yourself to rise above life's challenges and step into the fullness of who you are meant to be.